Was that 89?
It was 89, and you had
was that not
Mike Nicholson.
Was that not 88?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
You were there, right?
Yeah, well, I think I was...
You drove past them, didn't you?
Yeah,
they were all sat there part two.
Yeah, but that's why I think that I was in an Astra then. I'll have to have a look at that, because I'm sure it was 1988. And what they did was they put the air, the breather upside down, so when they went into the water, obviously it just gulped it in, and end of story. I mean, Weston Park was one of the first stages, and it was a big embarrassment to the Vauxhall. But, hey, these things happen. People make mistakes. But that was quite an expensive mistake.
But the sport was quite human back then, wasn't it? I mean, these days, if that happened to a team now, with all the corporate responsibility that comes with a professional sports team, it's a very different world, and you wouldn't get away with that. People would be sacked, and there was a human element to the sport back then. Things like that happened, and they created stories, and actually, they'd probably laugh about it after the event. And not the people who had put the money into the sponsorship, clearly, but you wouldn't be laughing about that quite as much these days if a brace of Ford Pumas broke down on Rally Chile, for example, would you?
Oh God, that would be really embarrassing. But it's a difficult one because, more of these cars then were manual. There's not that much electronics involvement in the rally cars then, but nowadays, I don't think I could even fix a car nowadays, the way they run. But you imagine the mechanics, the pressure on it, I mean, the big embarrassment. But yeah, the sport is so intense now that it would be major ructions. I'm sure Malcolm wouldn't be too happy if they had 4 Pumas parked up in Chile. But hey-ho, hopefully that will not happen again. But it was good times then, everybody helped everybody, and if your car broke down, you would just wait on the Land Rovers and they would pull you out so you could get your car fixed and probably get a finish on a rally, These Land Rovers that did the Scottish rally.
The armed forces guys.
They are animals. And God, we used to really wait for them coming. Like, it was a sight to see, knowing that there's Land Rovers behind you, because they would always help, always help.
Tell me the story of the Alfa Suds, because you've driven a good number of rally cars on your way to the World Championship that you won in 1990, but also since then as well. And your rally car career, I always look at people's rally car careers, and yours is quite rich and varied, but the Alfa Sud stands out to me as being a really unusual car to have rallied. It's nothing like any of your other cars, and I understand that experience was not quite like any of the others either.
No, that was a one-off. So we were invited over to do the Monte Carlo rally. Well, who could say no to that? The thing was the Alfa Suds were new cars to rallying, and there was 10 cars to be run, all women, which is even worse, And it was
you can say that, I wouldn't get away with saying that.
It was like, oh God, yes. Anyway, we'll not say too much. So there was 2 Brits, 2 Belgians, 2 Germans, 2 Italians, and 2 French. Now, obviously the French and the Italians being Alfa Romeo and French in Monte Carlo, we had the biggest problem because they used to steal all our parts out the back of the van. So when we're in the service area, all together, the French and the Italians would steal our parts. So we couldn't carry on, so we couldn't fix our cars. And we had a hell of a job. Anyway, we won. The Brits won, thank goodness. And not happy chappies. But the Alfa Sud was a very forgiving car. It was good. It handled well. It was Group N spec,
They're raucous little things, though. They're all 1.5 swing carbs, aren't they? They're great little cars.
Yeah, they're great little cars. And where are they now?
I drove one recently, and it was a Cloverleaf, and it was just a 1.5 twin cars, but it just barked. It was a brilliant little thing, and like you say, well, the problem is they rusted, didn't they? Like most cars of generation.
They did, but they're not going to rust on a week's Monte Carlo, so it was fine for me. But that was quite something. You had to, not only fight for competition, fight for all your parts for your car and your position, but yeah, it was good fun.
If you're just joining us here at the Apley Estate ahead of the first stage, which is about to get underway because we have got the first car into the stage. I'm Paul Woodford, this is Louise Aiken-Walker, and welcome to those of you watching on Special Stage live as well, because we're not only live here at the Apley Estate for the first stage of the Historic Rally Festival, waiting for the first car into the stage, we're also live on Special Stage, so it is good to be here, and I am joined by 1990 Ladies World Champion Louise Aiken-Walker, a hero of mine in the rally world, and many others as well. I'm delighted and very privileged to say somebody that I have spent a few hours over the last few years with in these commentary boxes and at these events, and the stories are as wonderful as you would expect, and we'll tell a few of those as we go through the live stream on Special Stage this morning and here at the Apley Estate as well. If you are watching this and you are within any kind of vague, reasonable travelling distance, please do come to the Apley Estate here in Shifnal in Telford. The tickets are available online. You do need to get them in advance, but you can get them right up until 2 p.m. tomorrow at historicrallyfestival.com. They're 15 quid each and the kids go free, because just like us, the organisers here, Warner Lewis and his hard-working team of people, they love rallying. They want to get the next generation involved. So if you are possibly within travelling distance and you fancy your rally car fix, the weather looks glorious. It's certainly glorious at the moment, Louise. And we're looking forward to 15 stages at 2 brand new stately home venues, the Apley Estate and the Willey Estate here in Shropshire. And it is a lovely part of the country. Once you get off the main road and you head out into the countryside here in Shropshire, it's a lovely place. Here comes our first car. So Will Nichols, Nick Broom kick us off. Will beginning his rally in 1987.
In an Escort, as many did. He did one rally and then took 3 years out before returning in the Sierra Cosworth in 1990, and that is for the former BTRDA Gold Star title winner in 2007. A look at what current World Rally Championship machinery looks like. It is a Fiesta Rally 2, one of M Sport's brand new spec cars, and it is
a glorious looking thing. 1.6 litre turbo, 290 brake horsepower, revs to 6,000 RPM, 5-speed. It's interesting, it's only a 5-speed in current rally cars. A lot of people expect them to be 6-speed like the old WRC cars. But nice 5-speed, SAD-F, sequential box and Rider 3-way dampers. And if you've ever seen the setup on these Rally 2 cars, the suspension angles are something to behold.
Louise, we've got fans watching at home on Special Stage,
and as well as here at the Apley Estate. So it's great to be able to bring this to the fans, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is special, really, really special. And the weather is brilliant, new stage, lots of different cars, great day out.
We did a special quiz last night at the dinner at Stockton House. We had 10 questions about Louise's career, and if anybody should get them all right, it should be Louise, but I managed to get 3 questions that Louise couldn't quite remember the answers to, and one of them involved Graham, her husband, so luckily it wasn't there, Louise.
Yeah, exactly, and I completely forgot about that, because Graham was a rally driver himself, but as he said, you know, if it was just 80% the length of the rally, I would have probably won. He was a bit of a man for the trees, I think, but yeah, it was a good competition. It was a very enjoyable night, and we may ask the questions later on.
We may, yeah, we'll do those 10 questions later, because they were a lot of fun actually, but it's not much fun for me now, because you know what they are. I need to come up with a new quiz each day, different facts from Louise Aiken-Walker's career, and there are plenty to go up, believe you and me. So the next car we should be looking for is the historic Mini Cooper. I'm just looking on the tracker to see if we've got the car on stage. We can't see it in stage at the moment. Oh, this isn't very good radio, but we're going to be running these. There's 51 cars on the entry this weekend. And Bob Clark, Viv Clark alongside, right next in the Group 2 Austin Mini Cooper. And I drove a Group 1 Mini 1275 GT recently, and this era of rally car is special. They really are amazing little cars, and I smile whenever I see a historic Mini on the stage, like I do when I see a modern Mini actually in the Mini Rally Challenge. Hello to anybody out there, including Julia Perry, who doesn't know what she's let herself in for yet, who is co-driving for me next month in a Mini Rally Challenge car at Cadwell Park, who are part of that challenge, because it really is an upcoming series in UK rallying, and before long we'll be rivaling some of the best single-make series that we've had, including the 205 challenge that we chatted to Louise about. We'll get a bit of a flavour on 80s and 90s single make rallying shortly, because that was an important part of the sport. But you know what, it's all about the Mini for the next couple of minutes. Mick Jagger, George Harrison, Steve McQueen all owned Minis in 1959. The celeb thing, though, as far as I am concerned, was just a distraction. The first time we saw a Mini on the Monty was 1960, and that is when the Mini story really started to come alive and the Mini became a household design. I don't think, Louise, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I don't think that the Mini would have been even remotely, if not half as iconic, if it hadn't have been for the rally successes of the car of the years, especially on the Monty.
Yeah, you're probably right. You know, look at Pat Moss, she was 3rd overall on the Monte Carlo. That was amazing little cars. And yeah, they really got noted in the 60s. So happy to be driving one. Are you, Paul? Are you going out for the next? Is it when you're out on the Mini?
Cadwell Park, so Spark Developments are building the car for me as we speak, and they're going to be hiring a fleet of Mini Rally Challenge cars, as well as other rally cars as well next season. So it's a bit of a promo job for the team, but it's also a chance for me to return. It's about 13 years since I last competed, so luckily my race suit just about still fits after last night's meal at the lovely Stockton House. I'm not so sure though.
Talking about overalls, so I thought Warner wanted me to come and drive his car, and I says, oh, Warner, unfortunately I can't get into any overalls. So I went into the attic and I thought, right, we'll try number 1 bag. Absolutely not a chance.
What's in number 1 bag?
Number 1 bag is the Ford overalls from 1979. So I had no chance. So I didn't even put a leg in there. And then I went on and on and on. And I even tried to get into the 1990 Old World Championship overalls. Not a chance. And I thought, this is depressing. So I managed to find 1 pair. And it's really funny because you go to these historic rallies and everybody's in the same boat. The zip is like up to their belly button. They can't get it zipped up anywhere. They're all kind of got a bit fatter, or the overalls have shrunk in the wash. That's what you see. But it is depressing. You know, you get unfit really. Oh. Now, here we go. Where's the Mini?
Okay, the Mini hasn't come through first, but that is Bob Beale's Mike Leffley with the VW Oettinger GT. Now, the reason it says Oettinger and not VW Beetle is because actually Oettinger GT was the spec of the very special car that was made famous by Pauli Toivonen when he won the GT 1300 class in the 90-hour 1964 Spa Sofia Liga Rally. 90-hour rally, Louise. Now, I know that the Lombard RAC used to be a marathon back in the day, but a 90-hour rally, the VW Beetle. There's the Mini. So we've got a bit of a two-car, I say battle, I've got to be careful with battle, this is a demonstration event, but they are being driven at a bit more than 8/10 because of the way that the Historic Rally Festival runs to Motorsport UK regs. But that's actually the Mini 1275 GT that you saw, and there is the car that I've got a little model of here, which is the Works Mini that did do work in the WRC actually. These cars just running slightly out of order actually. But there's a number of Minis on the event this weekend, and that Mini's done everything from, well, it's done Rally Sweden, it's done the Monty, it's done the Manx back in the day. And it was when the Mini was homologated, so it ran out of homologation in 1986, and then came back in the 90s when the Rover group brought the Mini back. But
there's the old Manta. Now Andrew Wood used to drive one of these. Phil Collins. They were a very popular car in the British Championship in 1986.
Not bad.
Was it 1986? 80. Yeah,
in the British Championship. So they brought them out to the world scene, but it was a warmed-up, dressed-up as Skoda, as some described it back in the day. So they weren't really World Rally Championship machinery, but they did the business in the British Rally Championship, didn't they? The car's coming thick and fast then through this first demonstration event here at the Aptly Estate on the Historic Rally Festival. And there's Andy Bounds, Adam Dognini in the Fulvia. Lancia's first WRC title was earned in a front-wheel drive Fulvia in 1972. Back then it was known as the International Championship for Manufacturers. It won the Italian Championship every year since '65, pretty much, barring one. And the Series 1 Fulvia it's a bit like the police cars in the Italian job, but that's the later car, the coupe, which has become quite a... I always think that model cars have a part to play in this, but thanks to Tamiya, quite a well-known car, because the radio-controlled cars back when I was a kid, they had a Lancia Fulvia, and most kids my age didn't have a clue what a Lancia Fulvia was. But the cars here come in thick and fast, and here is another glorious little car. The Ford Anglia isn't a well-known rally car, probably to modern fans, but it was a works car. It was entered in the Monte Carlo from 60 to 65, homologated by the FIA in 3 different engine sizes as well, which was unusual for a car back in those days. But it gave people plenty of options. And have you ever driven you must have driven an Anglia at some point, maybe not in your career, but on the road, Louise?
Yeah, I have. I've just, I used to be a beach guard, believe it or not, and I had an Anglia, and we went over every day in the summer, drove the Anglia, same colour, grey. I think every Anglia was grey. Anyway, and yeah, it's a good little car, but I never would dream of think that it would ever become a rally car, but hey, he's pushing it well.
Yeah, the Alade Anglias was something to behold. The Toyota AE86 there of Jeff Maybank, Crystal de Smet, New Zealander Jeff, first time out in 2014, doing demonstration events in a Corolla TE27, which is a bit like the, if you watch the historic rally, a bit like the one that Ian Beveridge uses in the British Historic Rally Championship. He's also done the French and the Belgian demo events as well, switching to that AE86 last year, which is known as the modern Mark I Escort. It's got a modern version of what is very widely accepted to be the BDA engine. So quite a clever car when it came out. And that is your Rover Metro GTI, which is a replica. That's Neil Dodd with Val Thompson alongside. Replica of the one that Tony Pond drove when he came out in 1991, having done all the big stuff. And I mean, Pondy is someone that I've spoken to you about before, but an absolute hero of mine. I wish I could have met him. But the thought of him coming out in a Metro GTI after, but he did really well. And he was 10th overall on the Ulster Rally in a Metro, just like that Tate and Lyle car, Louise.
Well, that's just Tony Pond, isn't he? He was a fabulous driver. Remember, he had the record on the TT course with the big Rover, over 100 mile an hour. Man, that's something, that massive car, and then to jump into a wee Metro and do as well on the Ulster Rally, he just turned his hand to anything. He was a great driver.
He actually had his last competitive outing, did Tony Pond, in a 6R4 while he was on the Metro programme, which just must have been, that was on Lurgan Park actually, that he did his last 6R4 outing in the Group B car, but it must have been quite a thing to jump in a Group B Metro and then jump in a little 1300 or 1275 Metro GTI.
These Group B cars were animals, weren't they? They brought the Audi out, and then the Lancia came out, and then the Metros came out, and they were half the size of any of the others, but they were real gutsy little cars, and they got some. They never really took off though, did they, the Metros?
Didn't have the chance to, did it? It came third on its debut on the RAC, but didn't really have the chance to take off, did it, apart from that?
Yeah, because they were all, the Group B cars were all brought in and that was it, finished.
This is an interesting car to see on the stage here. It's a Renault 11 Turbo. Now, you're all familiar with the Renault 5 Turbo. Forgive me if I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but the Group B were banned in 1986, so Renault put all of their remaining budget into Group A, and Jean Ragnotti, who had been iconic in a Renault 5 Turbo with big rear arches, sideways on European events, came out in a Renault 11 Turbo just like that, and it was Philips liveried, like the Renault 5 was when it first came out, and then that is one of the works colour schemes, but it really rose out of the ashes of the Group B era, and that's a car that Sean isn't a stranger. Sean Ellis driving that, Adam Towler alongside too. An interesting rally car. He's got a Nissan Sunny GTI as well in his stable. But here we've got a couple of cars to demonstrate the sport to you very nicely, Louise.
This is the female in here. I met her last night from all the way from Germany with her son sitting beside her.
Anja Zingelman-Harten with Corby and Zingelman alongside, but a great story.
Yeah, that was a Jockey Klein and Roger Clark car. Oops, oh dear, she's just going straight on there. Maybe a little bit slow on the co-driver's part. But anyway, I hope she has a good day. But that car has been driven with many, many famous people. And, what would that car be worth now?
Goodness me, I don't know. They're all a bit like Trigger's Broom these days, aren't they? But it's a Roger Clark Timo Mäkinen car from '71. And it's been quite a famous car in Germany as well. Jockey Klein in the 1971 Vorderplatz Rally. drove that car with Jochen Berger as well, if you're into your German rally drivers. We saw Barry Pavey and Kim Wells-Bird through as well. And the car's coming thick and fast now. That's Rob Jones and Graham Smith in the Group 2 car. And behind them, a car that reminds me of the Motoring News Road Rally days, the RS2000 of Stuart Hicks and Rob Sykes. It's a period recreation, but it's got a modern Duratec engine, full Group 4 specification underneath though, in that unarched shell, and those Motorcraft colours just remind me of the old Motoring News Road Rally days when you had full liveried cars in the lanes.
Yeah, they do, but the first one was livery of the TV Times young drivers, and that was a very good competition to get people into cars, and that's the cars they drove. And the second one, I'm not too familiar with the colours on that one, but that's a droop snoot, isn't it? Original, they were beautiful cars, just even had to have a road car, it was lovely.
If you're tuning in on Special Stage, welcome to a brand new stately home that we are introducing to rallying this weekend, the Apley Estate. We've got another one to introduce tomorrow, the Willey Estate, both in the Shifnal area of Telford in Shropshire, beautiful part of the country. And now, I'm pleased to say, a new place for us to go rallying. This is the Historic Rally Festival. Tickets are available for this brilliant event all weekend, historicrallyfestival.com, and you get to see cars like that right up to Group B as well. That's the MG ZR Super 1600. It's a Group A car of John Marshall and Chris Patterson. It was in the British Rally Championship from 2002 to 2004, and the car is all original. Now, some of the co-drivers and drivers that you see out are in for demos. Some of them are competitive, and those two did their first rally together in 2012 at the Croft Christmas Stages. So that's been quite a well-heeled partnership. They're coming thick and fast now, these cars, Louise. Audi Quattro S2 Coupe by Len Milner and Daryl Tucker. Now, Len has an A2 Quattro as well, which has been showed off at a local Audi dealership recently, along with that Audi S2 Coupe. But it's got a full race engine, that S2. They weren't very well known because Group B days were done in those days. But an S2 Quattro is quite a formidable rally car. Super impressor of Tony North and James Hood there, just stepping out of line in front of our cameras here on Special Stage. If you're watching online, if you're joining us here on commentary at the event, hopefully you're enjoying this action. It's almost like a rallycross stage with so many cars coming at once, Louise, which is quite the treat rather than having to wait 30 seconds for the cars.
Yeah, I think they're on. Are they on minute intervals or are they on 30 seconds? I don't know. Anyway, it's nice to see them. And, we've got to thank these drivers out there because these cars are not cheap to run. And to give us all the joy and fun, what rallying was in the old days, it's good. It's good of them.
And a word for Tony as well in the Escort, the Subaru you just saw through. He broke his leg, so couldn't do the event last year, so he's delighted to be back out. There's Steve Hopewell, Clive Jones, Steve's first demo event. It's always good to see competitive drivers coming out and trying their hand at some pressure-free showboating, because you know what, the spectators love a bit of showboating. Right, here we go. These are the sorts of cars. Take it away. Lancia, Delta, Group A, and Proton, Pert. These are the WRC cars of the day. Different eras there. Ellis Mendelson, Chris Kirkham in the Delta, and John Lay, Gareth Lay. And that Delta, I was talking about Tamiya cars. It reminds me of when you used to go in BTs and you used to see the cars painted in different colours. A blue Martini Lancia Delta is a sight to behold, as it turns out, isn't it? Not the usual white car that you see.
It must be quite sticky down there, but they all say, it's 80% driving, whatever. But I mean, even if I was in a car, you can't help yourself. If you see a car, you want to be up beside it.
Well, that Proton that you see there is the Proton's version of the Mitsubishi Evo. It won the 2002 Production World Rally Championship. It's still in the WRC Safari specification. It is 100% the original car. And it won the Asia Pacific Championship as well that year. Very successful and famous car. And have a close look if you are here this weekend at it, if you go to the service area at the university, because it really is a very special car indeed. Richard Boyle, Alex Boyle kicking us off with the Uniflow style Mark 1 there. And here, a very different kind of Escort altogether. That's Nigel Hepburn, Alan Wilson in the Johnny Milner Escort Cosworth. Johnny, one of your fellow drivers of the time, Louise?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, as I say, keep on saying that. But Johnny Milner was a good pilot. He's a pig farmer, And
like you, his daughter is now a rally driver as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good. What's her name?
Katie Milner, and she's done well in the Genesis as well in racing. There's Richard Barrow and Courtney Barrow in the Teg Sport car. When they switched to this new shape of Subaru, it didn't quite take off. Everybody lamented the loss of the boot lid from the old saloon car Subarus that we saw Colin McRae win the championship in, for example. But that new shape of Subaru has been quite successful, particularly over the pond in America, in Australia, in New Zealand. And Richard started rallying back in the 1994 era in a Mark II RS 2000, a brief fling with a Sierra XR 4x4, and there he is in an N16 Subaru. Recently did the Castle Combe stages in that car, came 27th overall, 3rd in class, the second of the Lancia Deltas on the entry. There is the Group A car of Robert Whitehouse. Has a long history in Finland, that car, over 100 events from 1988 to 2009, was fully rebuilt in 2020 to FIA Group A specifications. And throughout this weekend, if you're listening on Special Stage, tuned in, or if you're coming to the event, you will hear us talking about the groups and the classes of cars. And it's basically, the groups were modification and performance-based specification cars. It was a way of categorising the cars according to the anticipated performance and the level of modification from production spec. The categories are a modern way of categorising historic cars according to era, which is still involves the groups within those categories. Are you following? Good. Now there's a car. We talked about Tony Pond, Louise. There's Trevor Hancock, Fraser Gillen in the replica of the Works TR7 V8, followed by another Works replica, and that's actually a Works recce car, the Hyundai F2 of Andy Waldridge. So Group 4, Formula 2, we've got it all here at Historic Rally Festival, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a choice of, 63 cars here today, and it covers a range of Group 4, Group 2, Group Mark 1s. But I have to say, Paul, what is your favourite?
Oh, it's a very difficult question, but it's easy for me to answer this weekend, because my favourite car of all time is a Lancia 037, and we have got one of those. But listen to that. Just a stately home rally stage with a 555 liveried Subaru Impreza Group A. It's Phil Owen, Charlie Mason alongside, originally an imported road car, now built as a replica McRae rally car, and really reminiscent of that year, 1995, the year that every rally fan remembers. The second year we all remember is unfortunately the day we lost Colin McRae, but what a legacy he left. And to see that car on the stately home stage, the hairs were up on the back of my neck, Louise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Colin just changed the whole setup of rally driving. He had a different style completely. And I think Colin, you know, he just never backed off. Never backed off. He made cars go where no other person could put them, you know.
It's funny you should say that, because just as you say, he never backed off. Steve Harkness, Mark Watkins go past us in the Belga Escort, which is a faithful recreation of Robert Droogman's Belga team car. And if you've ever seen any of the old European Rally Championship videos, you will know that that was another man who didn't back off. But yeah, Colin was someone I wish I could have met, Colin.
Oh, yeah, Colin was a star, absolute star. But, you know, Colin, if in doubt, flat out, that's his motto. I think, you know, Jimmy was a great driver, but as I say, Colin took it another level. Alistair and I think Max is going to be something else. He's going to be up there as well. So 3 generations of McRae's, it's so nice.
It is nice, and there is a very interesting car, the Fiat Ritmo special of Michael Coville, Chris Coville. Now, back in 2011, I think it was, 2012, a special stage had a stand at Rally Day at Castle Combe. Mick Coville had his own build version of a Delta S4 on our stand. It always blows my mind because he build these amazing cars for himself in the garage.
Do you see that car there, the Nova? You can't think of David Metcalf either. Oh, there's somebody getting very excited.
Dave Bonning in the Escort Cosworth World Rally Car.
I was just thinking, there's the water trough there for cows, and I'm thinking, who's going to be the first one to hit that? And he was pretty close.
It was almost a Repsol branded water trough for the cows, wasn't it?
Yeah.
David Bonning getting very excited in that Escort World Rally Car. What's really nice is David's one of these people, that car's immaculate, and I back in the day didn't like to get it dirty, and now he loves nothing more, a bit like Dan Elmore, than to get his rally car dirty, and that's what it's all about.
You can't really do much damage here in saying that, you know, that water trough, I'm sure that's going to go sometime.
There's Russ Mason and Wendy Mason as well. Apologies that we're not getting a chance to talk too much about the cars in depth on this live stream. This is the first stage of the day. We've got a full weekend of enjoying these cars and telling their stories, and we will be doing that here at the Appley Estate and at the Willey Estate over the weekend at the Historic Rally Festival. If you are within vague, reasonable travelling distance, grab yourself a Travelodge, head down to Shifnal in Telford in Shropshire and enjoy 2 new stately homes that we are this weekend introducing to rallying, because this is a sight to behold. We've got a fantastic entry, and this, if you are watching on the special stage live stream, is just a flavour of what you can expect this weekend. There's a great rally show here as well, plenty of entertainment, and I do love the sight of a rally car in a stately home on a Saturday morning with the sun shining. That is David Turner, James Turner with their Escort Cosworth YB powered Group 4 Mark II Escort. Not too far away from the BDA, I suppose, the belt-driven A-series engines that were also Cosworth derived. So we can forgive a Cosworth under the bonnet there, can't we, Louise?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. He's going well, that car. It looks mint, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I do love the fact that we've got some cars out this weekend that only come out to do these events. Now, take nothing away from them. Some of these Group B cars can't even do competitive events, but the drivers and owners of these cars love nothing more. It's not always the owners driving them, by the way. They love nothing more than bringing the cars out to show off to the spectators and the rally fans, and they love that they're part of doing something very special and showcasing our sport. Sunbeam Lotus, Mike Barrett, Megan Barrett, you love those cars, Louise, I know, but that is the man that we have to talk about because his name's above the door. Warner Lewis, Anthony Hitchings alongside, Group A, anti-lag, fully engaged, flames popping out of the exhaust, the mud flaps flapping on that SD185 Celica GT4, and he's a man who knows a good Group A Celica, Louise.
He's actually very knowledgeable. He produces a lot of parts and things for people abroad. He's great mates with Ewer Kankinen, who's got a massive collection of Toyotas.
Jari-Matti Latveller, Ewer Kanken, who else? Marco Allen, he's been supplying parts to recently for their rally cars. And that's Lee Kedward, Mark Newman alongside. Also has the access to an E2 Audi Quattro, Peugeot 205 T16 Group B car. So he's got quite a fleet of rally cars himself, but he's brought that Evo 2 Mitsubishi out to show us. And that reminds me of Richard Burns, another hero of our sport, Louise.
Yeah, another champion. Yeah, he had a great season with Andrew Cowan. And
This is an interesting car. Craig Pennington in the Proto VW Polo R5. Now, Craig used to compete regularly in the UK in that car, and then the K37 rules came in, which banned cars like that and cars like Andy Burton's Peugeot Cosworth, because of the rule on the bulkhead having to be in the same place for various other body shell modifications being outlawed for competitive rallying. Proto have now got around that, and they have changed the design of the current cars, but Craig now uses that car in Belgium, but he has a beautiful Porsche 997 GT car, which he uses here in the UK competitively now. This is a car I have been dying to see. He brought his Renault 5 Turbo out last year's Historic Rally Festival. Neil Brighton is a DIY engineer who builds these cars in his garage. That is a Peugeot 206 WRC spec car built by Neil Brighton in his garage. Peter Fidalgo alongside. It's a full homologation build, but has no competition history. Four-wheel drive, 2-litre turbocharged engine, just like the car would have had back in the WRC. I can't remember last time I saw a 206 WRC, but that is a sight, isn't it? Followed by the Group B Autoplans Metro 6R4 of Dan Elmore. And the second of our 6R4s on the entry as well. We are spoiled by Group B cars here this weekend, Louise. That's Robin Hamilton, Vanessa Hamilton alongside. The first of those cars, though, possibly the most well-known 6R4 currently competing. It's been on Top Gear, the stick drove that car. It's been on various online Drive Tribe type YouTube channels, and it went for a pint of milk, I think, at about 100 miles an hour on one particular video I saw. But Dan is another man, one of the men who organises this event and absolutely loves his rallying. But that 6R4 didn't used to get dirty either, and now he loves getting it dirty.
Yeah, well, you get used to the car, don't you? And then you kind of push it a wee bit. But I mean, going on this grass, you can lose the car easy. But I mean, they're having fun today. They're trying to excite the spectators, and that's what it's all about. And it's no harm done, really, apart, well, hopefully. But they're just excited. You know, the first stage, it's always the same. You've just got to settle in, and today it'll be even more exciting when they get used to the cars.
Yeah, that's it. 15 stages over the weekend, including a meet and greet at 2:25 this afternoon at the Apley Farm Shop, which is just a short walk away from the house where we are at the moment. And we also have a dusk stage, which will very quickly become a night stage this evening, and we're also going to be live with you on special stage as well as here at the event for that one this evening at about 5 to 6, I think, this evening. I'm looking forward to seeing the spotlights bolted on some of these cars. But here come the first of our Audi Quattros. And that is a sight for sore eyes on a Saturday morning, isn't it? Andy Crinks, Lorraine Nixon, in a recreation of the Quattro S1 with a bit of a modern twist. They use it on demo events throughout the UK. There's numerous events in this, and a 205 Rally, an Audi S1 like that, an Audi Sport, a Volkswagen Golf G60. He's a man who loves his rally cars, and he loves to bring them out and show them to the spectators here. Group B. Does it get any more exciting? You drove a Nissan 240 RS in the early days of Group B when the cars were still two-wheel drive, but it was like an arms race for rallying, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, I mean, when the Quattro came out, I remember being in a 205. And do you want to talk about this car?
We'll come back to your story about the Group B and when you were driving two-wheel drive and the Quattro came out with that. It's my favourite rally car of all time. That is a Lancia 037. It is the last two-wheel drive car to win the World Rally Championship in 1983. And what a car that is to see. A real rally special based on the Lancia Beta Coupe. Dave Kedward, Paula Kedward, who brought their 205 T16 out to entertain us last year, have brought that beautiful ex-Safari Works 037. And if you're thinking, why is it in red Martini livery? They actually ran in red Martini livery for the pre-Portugal test in 1985. Now, what the 037 did and what happened in 85 and what led to some very sad circumstances is the part of the story, but the car itself is just incredible. And rounding us off nicely there, Louise, Dick Major, Neil Chambers alongside in the Fiesta R5. He's driven all sorts, world rally cars. His son has won the 2015 Asphalt Championship in a Millington engine Metro 6 R4, but he only brings that R5 out on demo events, funnily enough. Going back to your Group B days then, we've seen some Group B cars through here. You were driving in the early part of the Group B era with the two-wheel drive cars, then you saw the advent of the Quattros.
Oh my goodness. You know, you're starting at the stage and the Quattro was in front of us and it just disappeared. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, off it went like a rocket. And it was so quick, and it just stuck to the road. There was no chance that you could ever compete against these cars with two-wheel drive.
Okay, so those of you joining us on special stage, thank you for tuning in for a little flavour of this year's Historic Rally Festival. It is an event that's on all weekend. Tickets are available until 2 p.m. tomorrow. You need to get them in advance at historicrallyfestival.com. We'll be live again for the last stage as the lights dim and the spot lamps get bolted on here at the Apley Estate and the Willey Estate here at the Historic Rally Festival on special stage. But for now, make sure if you can, you get here. There's Phil Welton and John Shepherd. The last time we drove that car was in 1999. And it is quite a sight to see, isn't it? An Audi Quattro S1 Group B car back on a Stately Home stage. We are reintroducing Stately Home to British rallying, and we're doing it live on special stage for this first stage of the day. We hope to see you here at the event. Make sure you get your tickets, historicrallyfestival.com. But for now, that's it for special stage online until we go live for the last stage of the day. Thank you for tuning in.